Hello. I trust you're all doing great, and I welcome you back to my YouTube channel. As usual, my name is Oluwakemi Osege, and I'm excited for you to be on my channel today. So today, I'm going to show you the process of preparing my cake for stacking, especially the top tier. So this is what I do. I've got as part of the cakes I have for pickup delivery this weekend. As part of those selection of cake is a 2-tier cake, and the top tier is 7 inches round, which is going to be sitting on a 10 inches hexagon tier. So I'm going to now prepare that at 7 inches round tier, for stacking. So I'm just going to show you what I tend to do when I do that. So I've got my cakes all layered up and coated here, and I've got my 7 inches cake card, yes, and I've got this temporary acrylic card or bowl that my cake is going to be prepared on. Yes, this is a 7 inches cake card. Sometimes it may not be the exact, but it is a 7 inches. I hope you can see. I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't know. This is the card the cakes are going to be layered on to be placed when it is completely finished on top of its bottom tier counterpart. Anyway, so I'm now going to prepare this for stacking. So this is what I do. I've got my 2 feet here. That's the acrylic card that the cake is going to sit on. By the way, I washed my hand before commencing the process of this video or of this graph. I always wash my hand before I commence any work process. Okay. My table, my surface is as always at intervals cleaned and then disinfected. So this is what I'm going to do. I've got my 7 inches cake card. Yes, I placed that on my baking sheet. Just cutting out the measurements of my 7 inches cake card on this baking sheet, and I'm going to cut. And I've got my scissors to cut it out. My baking liner. So I'm cutting out that 7 inches cake card. Circle I've just marked out on this my baking liner. This is actually one of the ways I measure out my cake card. I will show you a second, explain a second process to you shortly, but this one is what I'm going to be using for this particular process. So it just tends to be the one that I prefer, or the one that comes into my mind. So I'm going to use this method to stack my cake. And the purpose of me doing this is for me to get the exact center of my cake card, because my cake, my top tier, is going to be inserted into a center dowel of which will be coming out from my bottom tier. So it is important that I get the perfect center for my top tier cake card. The same thing if you're doing more than 2 tiers. If you're doing a 3 tier, then it's important that you get the perfect center for your top tier cake card. Okay, I'm now going to fold it into 2. So you see, I'm just folding it into two halves, folding it against each other. Yes, and then I'm going to fold it again the second time, like so. So I'm going to have quarter triangles or 4 triangles, whatever. So make it into a triangle. Yes. Now the purpose of this is to get the center of this card. Right? So get the center of this card, the exact center of this card. And that's that. I've got my pencil just marking it out. And then again, another way is just lay it out. Make sure it is properly laid out on the cake card. Not as even on the cake card, so that you can get the exact center. And from there you can drill. So there it is again. the center of that fold. This is my pin, my 2 pin. Let's do it again. If your initial mark out was correct, it will. This one again will just confirm it because it'll be on the same spot. Okay, or just about. It's just in a way for you to get the almost perfect perfect center to your cake dowel and stocking. Okay. So again, it's the center of this circle. I mean this fold here. The center of this fold I'm just trying to get, and then place it. So it's almost. So it's actually on the initial mark out I made before. So this is my perfect center. And when I'm drilling, that is where I'm going to start my drilling from to create the perfect hole. Center hole for my cake to be inserted through. Now, let's proceed to the next stage. So this is a very special tool for me. It took me a while to get this because I was getting the wrong bits until I now got this one. I got it again from Amazon. Funny enough, although it's expensive, but the only thing I actually use in this packaging is this and the bits. This is 16. I don't know whether it's 16 centimeter, and this is 13. So if I'm using a smaller cake dowel, I use a 13 centimeter fitting, but I'm going to be using the 16 centimeter fitting because I'll be using a bigger cake dowel. I will be using this cake dowel, so I'm now going to be using the 16 centimeter to give me assurance that the hole is going to be big enough for this dowel to fit it. Now I'm going to set my drill up. Carpenter. These are some of the things you have to do as a cake decorator. It's not just about baking and decorating delicious cake. Sometimes you have to pick up some other skills along the way. So I'm now putting up my 16 centimeter compartment insert. Okay, and then of course now lock it up. So there it is, and then begin the drill. Make sure the tip of this drill is at that dot, yeah, so that what the drill will do is to cut around that circle. So however large it becomes, it will still be the exact same size across the circumference of the cake card. Yeah. So you have to be careful so you don't drill into your hand. So you see from that incision of dot I made, that's where I have put this tip inside. So that starts at the center of my cake card. So now begin to drill to create a hole. Until it is through. Yeah, it is true now. So I've got a hole. It is true. So what I do now, this is the real mess, it's untidy, so I'm going to tidy up this. So I do this and clean it up. Use this plier to clean it up. I just use to clean it up and make sure that it is perfect as I can get it. And so this kind of ensures that I have a perfect center. And another thing I have to do is to use the dowel I'm going to be inserting into the hole do a test insert to make sure that it goes in freely. So I've done this for about 4 or 5 times. I mean, at least a number of times here actually. So I know this particular drill fit. There's 16 centimeter. I don't know if it just says 16, but I'm suspecting that it's 6 centimeter. This particular drill is actually the perfect size or the perfect compartment to drill hole for this cake dowel size. So I'm sure of it. So anytime, all I need to do is just to drill the hole and then make it as free as possible. Insert to make sure it goes in freely. So when I'm inserting my cake, it simply slides in. Or maybe there may be a bit of a slight struggle, but it will definitely go in. Here you are. So here it is. I have a perfect drilled center hole for my cake card. Yes, another thing I do to check that my hole is perfect or measurement is perfect is to do a measurement again, to start from where this hole is starting from and then measure it out. So as can be seen, my measurement is just, I think just on 3 or just 2 slashes after 3. Okay, so if it's still 3 on the other side, to still be fine. So I do it on the opposite side and measure it out again. It's about the same size actually, and then do this on this cross other side again, measure it out again, about the same side, and do this again on the opposite side. Again, they're about the same size. And if I say so myself, I think it's actually the perfect center for this cake card. You understand? If not perfect, almost perfect. Yeah. So that's how I prepare the stacking of my cakes for multi-tiered cakes. If I want to insert the cakes into the central dowel, so this is what I do. And another thing I tend to do is, if I don't use this method, I have another method which I use. I'm going to show you shortly. So this is another method by which I try to get the center part of my cake card for my multi-tiered cakes. So what I do, whatever the size of the cake card is for the top tier, this one, the Silu measuring board, circle board for round cakes. So it already has measurements on it. 2 inches, that's for 4 inches round cakes. 6 inches round cake, 8 inches, 10 inches, 12 inches, 14 inches, and so on and so forth. So what you need to do, if you're doing an 8 inches card, this is a 7 inches by the way. So I just put it, on the 14 inches circle. Yes, as best as I can. The problem with this one is that it kind of slides and sometimes slips up from the center, which is kind of annoying, So that's why sometimes I don't use this. But this is another method I use to get the exact center of my cake. So I just put it on the 14 inches. Half of 14 will be 7, isn't it? So I just put it on this 14 inches circle, the one that has 14, and then it will now indicate where the center of that is. And I'll use this my pin, to mark it out in the center and then drill. So you can see now, this one that I've already drilled, this which I put on the 14, you can see the center is almost, actually, is in the center of the circle. If I put it properly, it just keeps sliding. So if I put it properly, you can see that the circle is actually in the center, the dots, it's actually in the center of that circle I already cut out. Yeah? But I don't use this, it depends on how I feel. Just to mention as well that this tool, this Silu already marked up measuring acrylic cake drum, is actually expensive. I think I bought it about 30 something pounds, over 30 pounds last year, this thing. So it's not cheap. So baking tools are not cheap at all. And that is one of the reasons bespoke cakes actually. In fact, most cake that is home baked, that is properly decorated, designed, are not cheap. So, yes.